NFR Extra follows all your favorite cowboys, interviews legends of rodeo, and talks to the best of country music. Follow Nevada Caldwell, Ryland Bentley, and Steve Goddard every week as they delve deep into the stories behind the road to gold in Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo. It's revealing, comedic, and sometimes emotional. Find it on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts. NFR Extra. All dirt, all rodeo, all year.
There's so much more that we can be doing. We're looking to launch another channel here in July called the Cowboy Channel.
Yes.
Which is really an offshoot of our Western sports efforts here over the last couple of years. We started our own rodeo at AT&T Stadium.
The American,
which is the largest single one-day payout in rodeo. We've been able to get a lot of sponsors for that event. We've been doing Western sports on radio every day. We've been doing Western sports on Wednesdays on RFD-TV. So it's just a natural for us. All the urban-based sports channels cover every sport in the world except rodeo. And bull riding and reining and cutting and team roping and all the great things that so many folks with rural ties participate in and watch. So we're really looking forward to launching that. I think 2 channels now coming together is going to help both channels where one can be promoting the other and just give us more and more options. And so why not?
PRCA and the Rural Media Group are proud to announce a brand new multi-year agreement to broadcast the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo on the Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV. Starting next year in 2020, you'll be able to catch all 10 nights of live NFR coverage, plus the Pro Rodeo Tour, Extreme Bulls, and more.
NFR Extra, episode 69. Man, we are, this less than a month away from the start of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, right? Is that, Brylan, am I correct on that kind of time frame here?
You are correct. We are less than 30 days.
Whoa. Yikes.
That's crazy.
In COVID times, though, that's like a year, right?
It could be a day or it could be 6 months, exactly.
Well,
I have no concept of time.
Yeah. Well, the cool part about what we got going on now and all these guests that we've been bringing on, we're getting some Vegas feel as we head towards Texas. But this guest, we're bringing on Mr. Patrick Gotch, right, from RFD-TV, Cowboy Channel. He's the
Rural Radio Media, yeah.
Yes, all these kind of essential pieces to the Western lifestyle media business. And yeah, we get to talk about his world, how he came about creating everything, and kind of this connection of how weird it is that the PRCA deal, Cowboy Channel, they're in Fort Worth, COVID, and boom, oh, by the way, the NFR is going to be in your backyard for your first year. Seriously, you cannot script this kind of stuff. No pun, when we're talking to a guy that works in the television media business, but seriously, you can't script this any better.
Not at all. And then you think about how he got into this world of television. It's a little surreal to actually listen to that story, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it.
Yeah. That was, what's crazy too is I've really appreciated the fact that a lot of the people that we've had conversations with, not one of them's like, dude, what you been doing? Just been drunk trying to get through this thing. Like, everybody's got different angles. Like, you look at how many people are capitalizing off of this. They're like, hey man, just some downtime. Now I can figure out this. So it's been neat. And Patrick Gosh, man, this whole thing with, like you said, Brylan, starting off in, feeding cows before school to help him put up satellites. Like, he goes through all that. And now this monster that the Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV and Rural Radio is, and how beneficial it is to our Western way of life.
Steve, let me go back to those first 2 comments. First of all, we do need to get someone on that tells us that's all they've been doing is drinking and doing nothing during COVID.
2 guys outside the door right now that I can bring in.
If we could just get that guest, that would be an epic episode. But to your other point, I think what we're learning about the human nature, about us, right, is the adaptability that we have to everything that comes our way. And humans have man, Jesus was 2,000 years ago, right? Like 2,000 years ago. And think about this. This is just a little blip on the radar of humans and how we adapt. But yeah, to your point, I think all of our guests have proven that humans adapt. We find a way. They don't give up. And clearly Patrick is one of them. And yeah, let's have him on. And he's given us opportunities to get on XM radio, and hopefully with some more opportunities down the road with what we do with Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV. But enjoy this episode. But up next, Rodeo News with Brylan Bentley.
This is Brylan's Bull, the Rodeo News of the Week.
PRCA Stat of the Week. 3. The number of cowboys who've won the last 15 steer roping world championships. Those cowboys are Scott Snedeker, Rocky Patterson, and Trevor Brazil. Cindy Rosser receives Danita Barnes Contract Personnel Lifetime Achievement Award. WPRA announces 2020 contract awards. Announcer of the Year, Bob Tallman. Stock Contractor of the Year, J-Bar J, Sparky Dressen. Judge of the Year, there was a tie, Joe Bob Lockett and Cliff Overstreet. Mildred Ferris, Secretary of the Year, Sandy Gwatney. Corporate Partner of the Year, Wrangler.
Cowboy Christmas. The Wrangler NFR's official gift show is coming to the Fort Worth Convention Center December 3rd through 12th. Don't miss the biggest and best Western gift show in the world. You'll find Western apparel, art, furniture, jewelry, and more. There's also a lineup of live events featuring country music stars and NFR contestants, autograph sessions, giveaways galore, and admission is free. Get more at NFRExperience.com. Cowboy Christmas. We're all in Texas, and it's all here.
Hi, I'm World Champion Jacob Crawley, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
He has said, "I've always felt confident that there was an audience in America for rural programming that was being ignored by urban broadcasters." Patrick Gotch, the man behind RFD-TV and the Cowboy Channel, both owned by Rural Media Group, born and raised on a farm outside of Elkhorn, Nebraska, Patrick knows firsthand the role that rural America plays in the lives of all Americans. Founder and president of the Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV, Patrick Gottsch. Welcome to NFR Extra, sir.
Well, wow, I've been begging to get on for a long time. I'm glad to get on.
Oh, well, we've been looking forward to bringing you on. Understanding the kind of where you sit in this business and what we've been trying to accomplish from a very lower hanging fruit with NFR Extra, you've been accomplishing for quite a while with the let's just call it the Western lifestyle that encompasses so many things that we're going to dive into here.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to Randy Bernard, and meeting him several years ago and having him come on board, the idea for the Cowboy Channel and a network devoted really to rodeo and the Western sports arena was really his. So I got Randy to thank or blame for all of this.
Well, before we dive into all this stuff that we're living in today, let's go back. Let's go back to where you grew up, Nebraska. Grew up on a farm, middle of America. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience and what that meant to you growing up there?
Yeah, I had a wonderful childhood, like so many kids in the 60s. Grew up on a small farm right outside Omaha, Nebraska. My dad fed some cattle and had a corn and soybean operation, had a few hogs, had a few horses, and just lived this wonderful life in this small town and grew up having to get up every morning and feed cattle before going to the school or anything. So got a great work ethic and just learned a lot about agriculture and got bitten by the bug really back then. Went off to college in Texas, Sam Houston State. I went for a couple of years, but really came back and wanted to farm with my dad. Happened to hit the 3 worst drought years ever, probably in Nebraska. I don't know if it was that dry during the Dust Bowl years, but there was 100-degree temperatures for 3 straight years. I dried out. Interest rates went from to 22%. Corn was down to $2 a bushel, and my dad said, "There's no future in agriculture. You need to go get a job in town." So wound up getting interested in home satellite systems. My daughter was born December 12th in 1984, and after she was born, went down the hill, and there was a guy putting in a satellite dish on the corner of 84th and Dodge in Omaha. I had a pickup truck with a bunch of tools and drove up. I wanted to buy a satellite dish system, and just went up and introduced myself. He was cussing and said, "You got any tools in that truck, in that toolbox?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Will you help me put this dish together?" He was just trying to get started. So we spent about 6 hours putting it together, and was getting ready to move it around with one of those big, ugly 10-foot dishes, and had a little TV set up, down at the base of the dish, and turned the dish, and boom, HBO came on. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, to have a piece of aluminum pointed to a satellite 22,000 miles away and picking up a TV signal. So wound up getting a job with the guy, selling and installing satellite dishes, and did that for the next couple of years, and put a lot of systems in for a lot of people out in the country that I knew, and everybody said the same thing. I'd follow up a couple of weeks later trying to get a lead or see how their system was working. They all said the same thing, that they loved their satellite dish, that the kids loved watching Disney, and Mama liked watching HBO and the movie channels, and Dad liked ESPN and the sports channels. But they all said, "But why is ag programming not on? Why isn't there any ag programming on satellite? How come there's no rodeo? How come traditional country music's going away?" And just heard that over and over and over again, and not being very smart, that you would need maybe some money and some brains to start a TV network. It was just one of those things where you write it down on the back of a napkin. RFD-TV, Rural America's most important network, and it's a long explanation. I forget what your question was, but that's how it all got started.
So real quick, let's back up to that drought, because I think what happens for a lot of us, there's a mission that kind of gets embedded in us at some point, and you realize this way down the road. But you clearly saw something back in the 60s, 70s, correct me, whatever the time date this is. But, watching your family go through the drought, your community, and how that impacts people, I would imagine at that time, the communication level for each other, for what was going on, was pretty slim, correct? Like, as far as what was going on for that entire community across the Midwest.
I grew up with, like everybody else, with 3 channels. Had a TV in my bedroom, but always had an interest in TV. But, really took an interest. I always did like outer space, and had an interest in NASA. I always got up, watched the rockets, the Gemini systems launched, and the first man on the moon in '69, and so on. So I always had an interest, and it's just one of those deals too. If it would have rained, I'd be a happy farmer right now. I still would be, but life throws curves at you, and it throws curves at everybody, and it's just, I guess, how you adapt to it.
We talk a little bit about the curves and a path that really is created throughout your life. How has each of these different stops created this career path that you have now?
Well, like I said, I had that idea for a television network called the NBC affiliate in Omaha, Nebraska, and asked the general manager, if I could take him to lunch. And for some reason, he said yes, and showed him the idea. And he said, this is a good idea. And I said, would you help me put together a business plan? I don't know anything about TV. And he said he would. We put together a business plan, and I really spent the next 8 years going around showing the business plan to everybody. And investment bankers, they all said no, said it was a dumb idea. Farmers don't watch TV. You'll never get on cable. There's not enough advertisers to support you. And all legitimate criticisms, because we weren't on the air. But I just kept going on it. I kept selling home satellite systems. And again, the more systems I put in, the more people were asking about a network for rural America, for agriculture, for Western sports. and for some reason just kept going. Finally got a break with Charlie Ergen at Dish Network, who I used to buy satellite dishes from when he and his wife were just starting out. And he believed in rural America, and he gave us our big break, and wound up putting the network on the air. Finally launched in December of 2000, and but as soon as we went on, everything that I was hearing locally in Nebraska was true all over the country, no matter what state. People in rural America really were saw a void that was not being filled by the urban-based networks. So I was trying to give away a lot of the company to start with, 80%, 90%, just to get launched when everybody was saying no. Charlie Ergen gave us the chance to launch it on our own, first as a nonprofit channel. So by default, we've wound up with full control of this channel, myself and my 3 daughters. So everything's a blessing. If we would have got financed, who knows what would have happened. But we never got in trouble because no one would ever loan us any money. So we never got in debt. And we just, as we would get a sponsor, an advertiser, or a cable system that added us, that was paying us a little money, then we'd add a employee here or there, and here we are, just about ready to celebrate our 20th anniversary of our launch, which, quite frankly, will take place as soon as the NFR ends this year.
That's a great story, Patrick. Let's hit the pause button for a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk about the development of RFD-TV and the birth of the American.
The next generation of rodeo stars will compete at the Junior World Finals, presented by Yeti. From December 3rd through 12th at the Wrangler Rodeo Arena inside the Cowtown Coliseum at the famous Fort Worth Stockyards, more than 750 youth contestants will compete for titles in 9 events. Bull riding, team roping, tie-down roping, steer wrestling, barrel racing, breakaway, pole bending, mini saddle bronc riding, and mini bareback riding. Competitions start at 7:30 a.m. daily, and admission is just $10. Visit NFRExperience.com for details.
Hi, I'm Boyd Paul Hamus, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
We are back with Patrick Gotch from the Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV. Today, RFD-TV is available in more than 52 million homes nationwide. So you're building this up, you have this vision, but there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. How did you go about the content side of things? Like, what was those steps?
Yeah. Over the 8 years that I was trying to sell this and get investors, I came across other people. Somebody that wanted to launch a network devoted to horses. Somebody else that wanted to launch. Met with Willie Nelson in 1993 at Billy Bob's, and he had this library of programming, and he was frustrated that the Nashville network wasn't playing traditional country music artists anymore. So he gave me his entire library. So it was just kind of put together. I was intent on launching an agricultural channel, but by default, it wound up being about 25% ag, 25% equine, 25% music and entertainment, and the other 25% rural lifestyle. So there were a lot of programs, independent program producers from around the country, farm bureaus, California Farm Bureau, Georgia Farm Monitor, This Week in Louisiana Agribusiness, all these little shows that only had maybe a sliver of distribution locally on their local channel, and if they did have distribution, it was at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, we offered them the opportunity to come in and go on in prime time. So by default, and I think it really helped us. I think an ag channel probably would have failed. I think just a horse network would have failed all on its own, but doing a little bit of each really helped us get into over 50 million homes where we are today.
That's awesome.
So at what time of that, I mean, you say just you and your daughters kind of writing this deal. What was there, like a particular instance, or how far into this deal did you realize that, like, we've got something really going on here, as opposed to just like a local for Nebraska type of a network?
We started in 2000. In 2007, we were still a nonprofit channel, and woke up one day and all of our bills were paid and we had some money in the bank, and it was like, wow, how did this happen? And so Charlie Ergen, like I said, suggested that we start as a nonprofit and said if this thing ever grows up and if there are advertisers and if this thing is what you say it is, you can always switch to a for-profit. Well, people were writing me, and I read every email that comes in, and saying that they really, were getting fed up with the news channels, that if it wasn't a drought, a disaster, or something bad going on in rural America or agriculture, it wasn't getting on any of the news channels. So in order to start news, we had to switch to a for-profit. And we wound up doing that just overnight in 2007. Happened to meet Don Imus at that time. Woke up one morning and there's Don Imus on the TV, 6 o'clock in the morning, and he's wearing an RFD-TV t-shirt. My attorney called me and said, "You got to turn on Imus. He's got an RFD-TV t-shirt." And I didn't even know we had an RFD-TV t-shirt, but somehow he got one, and he was talking about this network and talking about Rodeo and the NFR and how great this channel was. And I just happened to send him a donation. Had never met him, and he called me right away as soon as he got the donation, and told him how much he was watching us and appreciated it, and invited me out to his ranch in New Mexico. And that's how we really got switched, over to this side and start doing rodeo. Shortly after then, I met Randy Bernard. I went to Brazil with him for one of the PBR events. We became good friends, and when he became available in 2012, we came together, and like I said, he brought up, it was his idea to really, we had Western sports on RFD-TV, but Randy's view and vision was that there needed to be a network just really devoted to rodeo and Western sports. And just like there's a golf channel and a hockey channel and a baseball and football channel and everything else, there needed to be a channel for rodeo. So we started pursuing that in 2012. We made a bid for the PRCA rights 6 years ago, and for the NFR, but got turned down. It went back to CBS Sports. That turned out to be a blessing too. We really got after it, really built up the Cowboy Channel, got better distribution, took the criticisms that we were getting from the PRCA, embraced them instead of getting mad about them. And then a year and a half ago, when they came up for the rights again, really went in and made up our mind that we were going to be successful this time, and thankfully we were.
So with that, I feel like there's one small little piece that has been a huge dynamic into our industry, and that's the American. Can you talk a little bit about the Cowboy Channel and the American?
Yeah, again, I got to give credit to Randy Bernard. That was his vision. He'd been talking to Jerry Jones at AT&T Stadium for years when he was with the PBR, and the Jones family wanted to do a rodeo there, but they didn't want to do just any rodeo. They wanted to do the best rodeo. They were going to hold a rodeo in AT&T Stadium. So we came up with this idea for the American, to have it every March, for it to pit the top 10 contestants from the most recent NFR. They'd automatically qualify, and then we'd have it like a U.S. Open, where we'd have other qualifiers around the country in each event, and then if the qualifiers could come in and on that Sunday at AT&T Stadium beat the top 10 in the NFR, there'd be a $1 million bonus. And we did our first one 7 years ago, and every year it's the proudest day of my business life, to walk up to AT&T Stadium and walk into that beautiful venue and see have a rodeo going on that has our name on it. It's it's going to be matched this year by doing the NFR. I think I'm really excited about Globe Life and the rights that we have and the things that we can do. We think for the rodeo broadcast. So really looking forward to it.
Let's go to break, and when we return, we'll dive into how your team handled the pandemic as it unfolded.
Are you looking for the ultimate VIP experience for this year's National Finals Rodeo in Texas? The Cowboy Channel has just put together a limited number of special packages for each night, December 3rd through the 12th, which include a private tour of the Cowboy Channel studios and passes to the grand opening of the John Wayne Experience in the Fort Worth Stockyards. Then join us in the exclusive Cowboy Channel Party Suite at Globe Life Field for the best seats in the house to watch the NFR from your choice of private tables or booths. Food and beverage will be available in the suite, along with private restrooms and gift bags. Individual tickets are priced at just $520 each and are available on a first-come, first-served basis by calling our offices at 402-289-2085 during daytime business hours or email Patty at RFD-TV.com. Reserve your Cowboy Channel VIP experience today.
NFR Extra follows cowboys, talks to legends and country stars, and finds the stories that make up the season that leads to the annual showdown in December. Follow me, Nevada Caldwell, Brylan Bentley, and Steve Goddard as we delve deep into the stories in and behind the road to gold. Listen to NFR Extra on Rural Radio, channel 147 on Sirius XM, every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, with our re-air Tuesday in the same time slot. NFR Extra, all dirt, all rodeo, all year.
Also this week, the PRCA and the Cowboy Channel made a big announcement about the new Cowboy Channel Plus app. Tell us those details.
Yeah, we're really excited about that because it gives those people that haven't been able to get Cowboy Channel on their cable system, or they're not happy with the quality of the picture, gives them an alternative, quite frankly, that they can leverage that with and then have expanded programming. Typically, our digital offering didn't have everything that was on television and everything that was available on digital, but we're going to work toward having over 250 performances available on digital, and it will include all the live coverage that we have on the Cowboy Channel as well. So what a great opportunity for our fans.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of information will be available there. Of course, live video and also on demand and so many different options. So we're excited to bring that to all the rodeo fans out there. George, thank you so much for your time. I know it's been a very trying and crazy time, but we're excited about what's to come moving forward.
Yeah, so are we, Amy. And, you know, I never want to minimize the impact that this is having on our rodeos or our members. It's been a hard time for everybody, and we're all COVID fatigued and ready to get rodeoing.
Very well said. Thank you again, George. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Haley Kinsel, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
Patrick Gotch is here on NFR Extra. So, Patrick, let's talk about this. We had Metters on, oh man, a few weeks ago. COVID times, everything, week seems like a month, whatever it is. Anyway, here you are. You land the deal, right? You worked your butt off through, that whole time to get this deal, to nail it with PRCA. You move into 2020. You're ready to do some flexing with the Cowboy Channel and all the things that you guys have learned. And then we run into a pandemic. First of all, once you learned what was happening and knowing what was unfolding, what went through you emotionally and kind of decision making of all these tools that you oversee for the Western lifestyle? What was the next steps that you were thinking that you got to move on to?
Well, quite frankly, our 20 years has been nothing but overcoming obstacles and taking things on, and so it was kind of like it fell right in line. I don't want to diminish it, but we kept right on going. We always look for turn a negative into a positive, and the negative obviously was, right in the middle of Houston, it shuts down, and then we don't have Austin the next week, and we were really looking forward to Cheyenne and Calgary in the summer, but we found rodeos out there that persevered too and found a way to put on a rodeo and keep this going this summer. And we just made up our mind we were going to go in and support them and find ways to broadcast. And that's what we did. We wound up putting on a rodeo almost every night all year now, starting at 8 o'clock Eastern. Sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 were still going on. You know, it wasn't the top rodeos, but all the top cowboys were there and everybody was having a good time. So, you know, it's just one of those, we've always had the attitude, if you got lemons, make lemonade. So, you know, it really worked out well. The tour finals worked out great. And, you know, it's probably working to our advantage not to have so many big rodeos this summer. Because now we're really focused on the NFR and what we can do there. We plan on doing a lot of innovation that's never been done before, a ghost cam, a sky cam at the NFR. We're going to broadcast in 4K. We're going to have a Spanish language feed, and we're going to have a Portuguese language feed, and really try to expand this, you know, around the world, especially down into South America for Brazil and Mexico and the other areas. So it's never been easy for us, I guess. So
I want to ask this. This is something that, you know, I've listened to a lot of podcasts. They're talking about technology. I'll give you a quick example, like the pizza industry. A lot of those industries were going to unfold these new ways to order pizza, get faster than whoever and beat whatever. But they had it over like a 2-year time frame. And Domino's was already beating everybody, right? But because of COVID, they had to speed up this process, right? Their 2-year timeline had to go down to like 2 months, basically. And then they had to just find out ways to do this. And same thing with you talking about these different rodeos you had to cover and not the big ones. What are you walking away from, knowing that you're a tech guy, you understand these things, you've been in and out of the business for, sounds like 40 years here of understanding how times change and to adapt to technology. As we get onto the other side, I know we're going to talk about some other things here that are coming up pretty quickly, but as we get into 2021, what are some things that you're now kind of thinking like, wow, didn't think we could do that, now we can? Are you having some of that checklist items now that you're looking at?
A lot of it are things I thought we could do that we were having a tough time convincing people to give us a chance to do.
Nice.
Like everybody thought, or how it's been done in the past, is you'd have to get a big, expensive production truck and go out to each rodeo and have a crew of 30. And that's what, to me, really prevented regular rodeos from being on the air very much. You know, they could only do the 18 tour events or the 10 extreme bull events or the 10 nights of the NFR. Our focus with the Cowboy Channel was to have a rodeo on every night. And if there's 600 rodeos going on with PRCA, to carry every one of them. And everybody would look at us funny and say, you know, nobody can do that. Well, because of COVID, we were given a chance to prove that we could use local camera operators, that we could work with whatever the rodeo was doing for their video system, maybe enhance or add a camera, maybe add a few other things without pulling in a full truck, take a feed over the internet back to our studio in Fort Worth, Texas, that we built to do just a thing. And then we can sit there and control the cameras and the broadcast and add graphics and make it feasible. Well, as soon as COVID hit, and you know, that was the only way to broadcast these rodeos, and everybody kind of saw, wow, you know, you can do that. Plus, the one thing COVID's done in the television technology is it's really lowered the standards, I think, especially for the big channels. I mean, they're all doing Zoom calls now with people and poor lighting and you know, bad audio and I can't believe that NBC and CNBC and all these guys are getting by with it, but. You know, it's given us a chance to, which will really help us going forward, because now we know we can do every rodeo in the country next year. Whatever ones are put on, we're going to be able to feed those back into our studio. And I think the other thing that our big pitch to PRCA was a network devoted to rodeo 24/7 has more value than some people that wanted CBS Sports or a national network to broadcast just the finals. Our point, you know, we never envisioned COVID, of course, but anybody that was criticizing the PRCA for giving these rights to the Cowboy Channel or selling these rights to the Cowboy Channel are now see the vision now. Getting PRCA through COVID this year, if it would have been CBS, and I'm not criticizing them, but they never would have done these smaller rodeos or anything else or kept things going. And our big pitch to PRCA is that we want to be your partner. We want to help you grow the sport of rodeo. We want to expand. We've done it with the American. We want to do the same thing with this. Well, COVID's given us a chance to really prove what a good partner we are. And that, when things get tough, we aren't going to go running or go out. We hung in there with PRCA and sat down and to their credit, they've worked with us to get some other programming on, some older NFRs and round 10s and other things to keep this going. And again, I think it really kept rodeo going where I think there's a reason rodeo sold out in 10 minutes this year. And that's that there was this huge fan base that every night at 8 were home watching rodeos every night and really stayed up with it.
Yeah, you kept them connected for sure.
Yeah. And hopefully that works out for us too, where, eventually, of course, we want to get some sponsors and we launched our app. Our app's doing really well. We've done things for 20 years because it felt right, because, it just seemed like the right thing to do. And sometimes we don't have much of a plan on how to make it work financially. And for some reason, the sky opens up and out will drop a sponsor or something that we need for 20 years. And it looks like it's going to happen too now with the Cowboy Channel.
Adaptability is key to success in any business. There's no doubt, Patrick, you and your team have proven that, especially in the media and rodeo industry. Let's take a quick break.
Cowboy Christmas. The Wrangler NFR's official gift show is coming to the Fort Worth Convention Center December 3rd through 12th. Get more at NFRExperience.com. Cowboy Christmas. We're all in Texas, and it's all here.
This is Brylan Bentley from NFR Extra. We talk to cowboys, legends, and country stars and delve deep into the stories in and behind the road to the gold in Vegas. It's revealing, comedic, and sometimes emotional. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you're listening right now. NFR Extra, all dirt, all rodeo, all year.
The next generation of rodeo stars will compete at the Junior World Finals, presented by Yeti, from December 3rd through 12th at the Wrangler Rodeo Arena inside the Cowtown Coliseum at the famous Fort Worth Stockyards. Visit NFRExperience.com for details.
Hi, I'm world champion bull rider Sage Kimsey, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
We are kicking it with founder and president of the Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV, Patrick Gotch, on NFR Extra.
Yeah, the deal with PRCA, you guys definitely amplified the Western lifestyle this year just to give everyone a chance to be a part of those rodeos throughout the year. And then we have the NFR in Arlington, Texas. What are your thoughts on this decision and how many opportunities does it create going forward?
Well, I first of all, my hats are off to Las Vegas and the way they've handled this, and to for the good of the sport, give PRCA a chance to go out for 1 year and keep them going if they could do it somewhere else. So I think this is just the perfect storm for the NFR. I mean, everybody's looking forward to going back to Vegas next year as soon as it opens up. But this year is, I think, a really unique opportunity to go to Texas and have a lot of people come to a rodeo that maybe didn't go before, create even more fans. There's a lot of excitement. I'm hoping the stadium opens up just a little more because there's a lot of people that still want tickets. So, but just to be able to go and do it and keep it going and keep the tradition going and most importantly, put some money in these cowboys and cowgirls' pockets and stock contractors' pockets so they're healthy for next year. I think is a tremendous opportunity for us. This is in our backyard. This is our first NFR broadcast. I think we're going to be judged by a lot of people yet. I think we've made, a lot of progress this year from things I just talked about, showing we're a good partner. But we're going to be judged by how well we do this broadcast, and it's going to be, we're going to have home court advantage here in this first year, and really be able to put a lot of things behind our broadcast with it being in our backyard. And I'm also proud to be able to show off the Fort Worth stockyards. There's been a $172 million investment there. They've just opened up a new Casey store, a new King Ranch store, a Wrangler store, some new hotels. They're really embracing the Western lifestyle, and having the NFR there this year, where people can come in and get exposed to what's going on in Fort Worth, I think is going to be an awful good thing for that city that is a great friend to us and a great friend to Western sports.
You brought up King Ranch, so that's a good friend of ours, and Lance and his team. We're actually going to be broadcasting NFR Extra from there every day during the NFR.
Good.
Yeah, right next door to your place. Yeah. So you brought up Vegas, and so if you look at this like through a Randy Bernard type promoter vision, right? And like you look at this like a 2-year type thing. To your point, this seems like a big launching pad, utilizing Fort Worth. The heart, to me, it seems like the birth of rodeo, right? When I had been in Fort Worth, there's so much tradition there, right? And here you're going to have the NFR here and all these crazy times going on. But the launching pad to get back to Vegas, I think is going to be huge, which lends itself to you guys that knowing that you were going to have the NFR this year in Vegas, let's fast forward to 2021. What are some things that you've been thinking about, you've been wanting to get after to utilize Vegas as that backdrop and the NFR? There's some checklist items you've been looking at as you head towards 2021.
Well, like I said, everybody wants to get back to Vegas. That is it's clear that Vegas has established itself as the home of the NFR. I'm hoping what this gives us by doing this at Globe Life and the Fort Worth Stockyards and some other things is maybe we can do some other things to expand the American, for example, from its 2-day event into a longer event. And I think the NFR being in Texas this year will maybe help us with the Texas Tourism Department or other people to really do some things. Like I said, I like, being like maybe NASCAR with rodeo. The NFR is going to be in Vegas, but maybe, in March, a couple months later, just like Daytona's leads off the year, in Florida, maybe the American can lead off the year with all those other Texas rodeos, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and really create a 3-month period where there's a lot of tourism coming to Texas and people coming to Texas to watch all these great rodeos.
I got to tell you, Patrick, it was a lot of fun, man. You got a great gig, to tell you the truth, for the Western lifestyle and all the things that come together, man. This was a lot of fun learning about, you.
Well, thank you. One thing we didn't, we're opening up, this was in Vegas last year, the John Wayne Experience with Ethan Wayne is coming to the Fort Worth Stockyards. I'm partnering with Ethan, and we're opening up a 10,000 square foot exhibit next to the Coliseum in the Stockyard. It'll be right across the street from the Lucchese store. So
nice.
Come take a tour. I'm having a ball. My family's having a ball. Like I said, we don't have any debt because no one would ever loan us any money. So we're not in trouble. We're not in trouble with anything. And it's just fun. I love farming. I got back on my brother let me farm a couple of weeks ago for a week, and it was great to crawl back on a tractor. But the opportunity to meet so many good people, to meet, Michael Gaughan, to meet Pat and everybody from Las Vegas and Bo and Randy Bernard and all these things, Trevor Brazil. RFD-TV and the Cowboy Channels just provided just such a great life for me and my family, and we're having fun. I jump out of bed in the morning and hate to go to bed at night yet. Just every day seems like a new adventure, and I think we've taken a big bite out of the elephant for the NFR, but with people like Jeff Metters and everybody else that we surround ourselves with. I think people are really going to be pleased with how this NFR comes off and how the broadcast is presented. And again, I think that leads into hopefully creating a lot of momentum for next year and next year's NFR in Vegas.
Yeah, I could agree with you more. And it honestly sounds like you guys are just getting started. That is for sure.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out one way or another.
Nice. I still think you're that kid back when the droughts were going on and thinking about what you got going on today. You're giving back, man. You're doing, whatever you experienced back then as a young man, you're giving back to the business.
But I do feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. We've gotten every break in the world, for the last 20 years. Once we launched this, if we needed something, the sky opened up, but it's really been a journey. The thing is, there's a real void. There's a real need for a network like RFD-TV for agriculture and a network like the Cowboy Channel for Western sports. I don't know why these urban media guys don't see it. I think it was proven again last night as we're taping this. Last night was the election, and why did they miss the polls so much? To me, there's just a disconnect between urban and rural America that needs to be addressed. They don't get it, but rural people, agriculture, rodeo fans, they're looking for something different than what urban media is offering them. And I hope they wake up soon.
Yeah. That's crazy. You mentioned the disconnect, and that's one of the biggest things. Like, I'm up here in Montana, and we are, in the cattle industry really heavy. And you look at people that go to a store and swipe a piece of plastic and they get their steak thinking that it comes from the store, or their milk or their vegetables or whatever. And they don't have any. And when I say ignorance, it's the lack of education that comes from that, of knowing where those things are. So I think that the fundamental basis of having an educational platform that displays rural lifestyles is more important now than it. I mean, not that it's not been important, but it's like now it is so crucial for people to learn and to know about that.
No, there's a wall being built between urban and rural America. When we launched, we had two goals. One, to serve the needs and interests of rural America. Number two was to reconnect city with country again.
Yeah.
And that's what we are trying to do. And that's what we're trying to do with rodeo. The thing that I've really found is we created a lot of fans in the last couple of months with going to these smaller rodeos, and every one of them, we'd carry the prayer and we'd carry the national anthem, no matter how poorly it was done. And not that any were done poor, but people wrote just letter after how much they enjoyed watching our channel and seeing patriotism, seeing people salute the flag, respect America. And I think that'll really pay off, which is, I'm really looking forward to Randy Bernard's openings. If you haven't done a show with him recently, you should before the rodeo, because he's going to do a 15-minute opening every night that we're going to carry without commercial interruption, start to finish, the grand entry with the prayer, and he's going to do something special with the national anthem every night. So people are looking for that.
Yeah, that's the truth. I actually worked with Randy during his PBR days at Thomas Mack Center. Oh, yeah. So you're 100% on that, and looking forward to that for the openings at the NFR for sure.
Well, good. Well, come see us when you get to Texas.
Oh, we will. We're going to be coming over there and bugging you at the studio for sure. Well, thank you, sir, for coming on NFR Extra.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate all you do. And
appreciate you.
Go and everybody listen to Rural Radio for your show.
Absolutely. We want to thank Patrick Gotch for visiting us on NFR Extra today. Want to experience more of the NFR? Then visit nfrexperience.com. And we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've been hearing on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe. NFR Extra.
All dirt.
All rodeo.
All year.
Gotta make it out to Vegas. and the ladies in the skin-tight Wranglers